Let's jump to the war here, and today we've got a Rating Your Doomstack video playing as the Maggot host, going up against Reichland with a Rot Knight Doomstack. So we've got 15 of these units, including the Rotting Riders, which is a really good Regiment of Renown variant, because they've got, for one thing, much better stats, but also 15% damage resistance with this, and magical attacks, so that's really good. We've got 5 heroes in here. All of them, I think, have a good purpose to it. This guy, Mornhow's probably there for like an area of effect buff for them. I'm not going to be using the heroes in the battle, but I do agree with putting this guy in there. Kazik provides a heap load of bonuses to Rot Knights. He should definitely be in a Rot Knight Doomstack. And the Cultists of Nurgle probably just there for campaign movement range and also the summons. And then it's always good to have a spellcaster in here, although we don't need a healer for these units because they have regen by default. So having a look at the Reichland forces, they have, if we were to combine it all, probably about 3 full stacks here. And some pretty dangerous units, a lot of cavalry, a lot of things that can pin us down, a lot of missile units. But the auto-resolve does give us a Pyrrhic victory, but that's a pretty bad victory right there, so obviously we need to do better than that. I've also turned off the sound effects, so this guy here doesn't annoy us during the intro, but the intro's done there, so you don't want to be hearing that the whole time. Let's jump in and see how it performs. So I only used the initial Rot Knight that I had in my Nurgle campaign, just because I didn't get to the point in it where I was getting super late game units, because this is like a tier 5 unit, the Rot Knights. But just that one unit, I could see the value in it. This is a very good cavalry troop, probably on par with Grail Knights. Probably not quite as hard hitting as Grail Knights, but the added regen and the anti-large, I think that gives them an edge. I mean, Grail Knights have anti-large as well. Alright, so these guys here, if it wasn't a Rating Your Doomstack video, I would use them, but we're here to use the Rot Knights, not have these heroes do all the work. We just don't need them to. Now, because the auto-resolver said victory, I will wait for their reinforcements to show up, because, you know, it seems like it's a relatively easy fight if we were to try hard. And these Rate Your Doomstack videos are really supposed to be a stress test for these units. Put them under a situation where they're really supposed to not shine. And typically speaking, cavalry don't shine when there's 40 units on the battlefield, just because you just don't have as much maneuverability because the enemy will take up so much space. And the maps in Warhammer are relatively small, at least compared to earlier Total War games. And this is where cavalry armies can struggle a little bit. So for them to excel in this sort of situation shows the strength of the Doomstack, not the weakness of it. Okay, they've got a fair bit of cavalry, which will be instrumental in pinning us down so they can use their missile units to shoot us. So what I want to try to do is draw their cavalry towards me, fight them first, hopefully out of range of their missile units. Another thing that would be good for these units, really good they got 101 speed, is go into a fight, pull out, wait to recover a little bit, and then get back into it. Because they can't recover entities, so you want to try to keep them, each entity, alive as long as possible. Because once one of them is dead, it can't provide its regen anymore. As in, you can't bring it back to life, is what I mean. Alright, what are we waiting for here? Okay, yep, they're coming. Alright. Alright, they want to bring their whole army this way, and that's fine, right? I'm going to try to spread out a bit more. So with this kind of Doomstack, you really don't want to just charge into the enemy. Especially if there's 40 units on the battlefield. It does require a little bit of micro. Okay, that unit is going to shoot. These are strong units, but they're not going to survive a blast of the Luminarch of Hysh, so we've got to be careful of that.
Seeking victims. Onward, Northmen. Thralls of decay.
I really want to try to draw their cavalry out here.
Bringing the rot.
But they don't want to rush at us at the moment. So it's all in the highest battle difficulty.
We go in fury.
Yep.
We love the sick.
Okay, hang on.
Comes. Where chaos commands.
So at the moment, what I'm doing is probing them for weakness. See which flank of theirs is going to be weakest before we charge in. Because once we charge in, it's likely they're going to really throw everything they've got at us, and it's going to be more difficult to pull out.
Virulent warfare. Futility for all.
I've also got army abilities here, but usually with rating your Doomstack videos, I decide not to use the ones that are unique to the Legendary Lord, and just use the ones that, you know, any old army could get. Because I reckon you can make... God. You could make this Doomstack with any Nurgle Lord. So I'm just trying to get their attention. They're not really taking the bait over that side. This side over here looks much weaker, so I'm going to start bringing them back around this way. Yeah, okay. This side here over here is much weaker. What are they doing? Is that a healing? Yeah. They're trying to heal a unit that can't actually heal any further. Now these are anti-large, but that doesn't mean they can't beat infantry as well. So let's just bring these guys around over here. Hopefully all the slow units will just remain there. Got some Empire Knights there, they're not going to do anything. This guy here is a bit of an issue just because I don't think our guys have enough resistance to be able to block even a single shot. So I've got to keep him pinned down in melee. Okay, you really don't want to be getting shot when you guys get over here. Okay, looking good so far. Not really taking that much damage. We're never going to walk out of this with no casualties. Okay, that's a bit of an issue there. But yeah, whole bunch of units over here that are just too slow to catch up. This is where I've always said speed is one of the biggest assets of any cavalry-based army, and why I hate Cold One Riders. 68 speed is just garbage. Okay, that's not allowed. We've got to put a stop to that. Good. Absolutely ripping them to shreds out here. A few casualties, but we're regenerating while we're fighting. Yeah. We got to get in some heals soon with Fecundity. Yeah, they're not the best at dealing with single entities. I wasn't expecting they would be. But this is something that you're going to have to deal with in these sort of fights. Barely taking any damage. We've killed a good portion of this force. Although, these guys are starting to bring in some serious fighters here. Most of the missile units we need to worry about. That's it. Okay. Actually, you know what? I don't even need that heal right now. We're not damaged enough for me to use it. So just wait. Alright, there's a mortar unit over there that we need to go and get rid of. Good. Toddy fought one of these guys. Oh, hang on. We got... Their reinforcements came in from over here. We need to go sort that out as well. Okay. Okay, it's starting to get a little bit damaged. Let's pop that down there. Also want to watch out from just getting blobbed up too much. That's not ideal. Okay, come on. Keep moving. Good. Alright, so far, everyone has either taken no casualties or only one casualty. So this is looking real good so far. This guy isolated out this way. That's not good for him. Draw them a little bit further away from the missile units. They're still biggest threat. How did this Toddy friggin' get away? You got a kill on us there. Okay, charge back in. Really high charge bonus. You want to make use of that. Remember your ABCs, children. Always be charging. Unless you're a dwarf.
Filth shall prevail.
Back. So what are these here? Reichsguard. Yeah, okay, we don't want that sort of situation where we're fighting in melee and getting shot like that. Try to avoid that. Okay, this one here is taking a lot of damage, but not too many casualties. So let it get out of the fight for a little bit. Oh, there's a steam tank volley gun. Just let it regenerate, and then we'll send it back in. Fucking Toddy. He's almost used up all of his regen. Get these ones out of there. That's not looking too good for them in this location here.
Guided by chaos. A sickly steed.
Okay, charge in now. Okay, no more reinforcements coming from this side over here.
The corruptor's will.
Right.
The corruptor's will.
Aim for the missile units. Don't ever charge in on a bunch of clumpy, bloody infantry. Great way to get your units killed.
The Plague Lord's wrath. Utility for all. For the fly.
I gotta get in on all these missiles. Although there's some halberdiers there.
Defilement comes.
Still gotta get rid of these mortars. Actually, the mortars haven't got any kills yet. Bunch of infantry over here that are just not a priority.
Northmen.
Because yeah, what they want to do with their melee infantry is pin you down so their missile units can shoot. Oh, he's just staring at us.
Walls of decay. Make them wither.
Okay, good. We can bring this guy back into combat because we used the heal.
Serve the plague.
Okay, that's a whole bunch of infantry there. Get out of that. It's
Defilement comes.
not important. We go and fight. There's a little bit of cavalry, but we're really quick, so we can move.
Devils love. Urge to defile. Ready to defile. Spreading corruption.
Both of you doing that. Got to get in over there on those missile units there.
Move on them. Despair in tow. It brings malady. With toxic intentions. Plague and filth.
Okay, the mortars have been mostly dealt with. Good. Our army's in pretty good shape. Only a few casualties. I think the weakest one's at 28 entities. That's what I can see at the moment. After the missile units.
We love the sick. Serving Nurgle. We are the foul.
Back off a little bit there. Alright, I think Toddy's finally gone. Good.
The crow brings death. We love the
Don't
sick.
want to fight these guys, just avoid them.
Pestilence comes.
I feel like these guys have got a good pull-out game as well. So, Slanesh is jealous.
It brings malady. Where chaos. Feel it moving.
Put them in there. Okay, we've got to heal in here in a moment because they're fighting some important units. But they're also bogged down fighting some melee infantry.
Filth shall prevail. Urge to defile. Filth shall prevail. We go.
Keep that guy pinned down.
Fury. Utility for all.
Good, looking good here.
Walls of decay.
Don't really want to be fighting great swordsmen. They're not anti-large or anything. It's just bogging. Bogging us down where we need to be taking out more damage-dealing units. Any kind of missile unit is what we need to focus on. Although there's not that many left, so it's not that big of a deal now.
Plague Lord's wrath.
We can start fighting the melee infantry.
Urge to defile. Wounds will fester.
And there we go. Inflicted the army losses with, I'd say pretty minimal casualties without even using any of our heroes. I get that you're supposed to use this guy here, like mixed in amongst them. I just didn't need him. Alright, now this isn't a disaster battle, so I don't need to run everyone down. I don't need to send us that far back, so it's fine. Close victory, huh? With really no more than 4 casualties on any one of those units. In fact, post-battle loot options might allow us to recover to full. So I'm a big fan of these units. I think they're really good. And they've solved one of Nurgle's big weaknesses. Yeah, at least for the late game. And that's speed. Because most of Nurgle's units are just super slow. Short of the... what's it called? The Soul Grinder. which is obviously a very good unit. This one is now also one of the few Nurgle good units, I think. I guess there's also the Toad Dragons, but I think this is actually better than the Toad Dragon Doomstack. Although micro-intensive, so people who are not skilled with micro, just don't have confidence with it, they might not see much appeal with this one. Alright, well we're definitely not going to be able to replenish off that, which is, we won't give it much to work with there.
Souls for the Father.
There's so many units there that they might decide to attack again. Alright, I'm just going to get through the rest of this turn by cheating. Because I just want to get to the campaign side of things and have a look at what's making these guys so strong. So in case you're not familiar, I turned down the battle difficulty, which gives you huge amount of auto-resolve cheats. Which even in a legendary difficulty campaign you can do. So if you ever get ambushed, that's a crutch you can get out of it. Because sometimes you'll win in ambush if you put it on that difficulty. Alright, so let's have a look here. So Tamrakan, looking at his skills, so he provides melee attack for non-demonic units, which these guys are not demons. Also immunity to psychology. I don't think that's a big deal for these guys. They've got high leadership in the first place. So looking at his unique line there, you've also got extra casualty replenishment rate and recruit cost reduction. That doesn't do anything for it. Nope. For plague ogres there, that's not them. Nope. And then just reduced upkeep cost for all units in the local province. So he'll probably get them cheapest. If we have a look at Kasich, you've got resilience. No, okay. I think his stuff is down here. So speed for all units in the army. Yep. And charge bonus. Then you've got extra weapon strength for cavalry, which they are. Then you've got melee defense and melee attack for them. Recruit rank and recruit cost reductions. And giving them terror. So yeah, you really don't need the immunity to psychology if you've already got Kasich in the army. So you could have Tamrakan do something else. Is there anything else in here for that? Although that there is a fair bit. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, then this guy here, because those two are just generic heroes. So this one, let's see what he's providing. Stalk during ambushes. That doesn't matter so much here. So this is providing nothing, I think. That's not for Rot Knights. I don't see that in there. Same thing there. Speed for all units in the army plus 5%, so that's fairly valuable. But I would not say this guy here is essential for this army. It does seem as though it would be better giving him a melee infantry or just a regular knight doomstack. I think a lot of the skills here are just getting wasted a little bit. But yeah, this is definitely pretty good. And it's entirely up to you how you want to go with it. So yeah, I'd say that Kasich the Befouled is essential for this. Just any old spellcaster is good. And then, you know, getting the extra campaign movement range is always useful from a campaign point of view. So in terms of rating this, I think you did a good job building this. In terms of how it performs on the battlefield, I don't think it deserves a 10 out of 10. Like, I like this army for sure, but I don't think it deserves a 10 out of 10. Typically speaking, cavalry armies will not get 10 out of 10. I mean, it did really well in that battle. So I'm gonna give it like 9.5 out of 10, because it's close to 10 in my opinion. We didn't go up against 4 full stacks, and we did take a fair bit of damage, and we were taking damage, but we were recovering it as well. But if we had fought another army, I'm pretty sure a lot of our units would have actually reached the point of their maximum healing. So their stamina was sort of reaching their limits there. We would have taken a lot more casualties. Also, a lot of those units were quite badly damaged. It wasn't the greatest stress test that we could have had. In terms of ease of use, it doesn't get top marks for that, because it's not easy to use any cavalry army. So I'd put that at like a 7 out of 10 for that, just because you're going to need to have some degree of APM, and some people struggle with that. So if you're one of those people that can't do easy micro like that, you may want to avoid using this Doomstack in stressful situations. That being said, it's pretty decent in auto resolve. And then how convenient is this to recruit? I would say not too bad because of the changes made to Nurgle. If we have a look here, looking at the building that it comes from, let me just see. Yeah, so in a full cycle, you're only going to start getting them at tier 5. So that's the tier 5 section here. So you get 1 Rot Knight first, and then 2 in the final one there. So for a full cycle and just 1 building, that'll give you 3 Rot Knights. Now you can use infections to speed things up quite significantly, and in the later stage of the campaign, when you got this many, what's it called? Infections, rushing the cycle is pretty easy to do. And that'll give you a hell of a lot of units if you've got the infections for it. As you can see there, we just did a full cycle. It's entirely up to you how you want to go about that though. So really any kind of Doomstack with Nurgle, it's really just about getting to tier 5 and then just being able to have enough infections to rush the cycle so that you can get enough of those units. That's just not a big deal. And then of course they recruit instantly, so you can make a full stack of this from anywhere. You don't have to remain in your province. So it's pretty easy to build Nurgle Doomstacks. You just got to wait until you get to tier 5. So I'm going to give it top marks for convenience because it's not that inconvenient to get Rot Knights really. Okay, so I'd say overall though, this is a good solid sort of 9 out of 10 Doomstack, which puts it in the upper echelon for Cavalry Doomstacks. And Cavalry Doomstacks are just rarely going to get a 10 out of 10 just because they're not super easy to use. Like I said, I've said many times before, the best Doomstacks, the ones that are going to get 10 out of 10, are the ones that can take on 4 full stacks, not even take a scratch, and basically the player can go take a piss during the battle and just not even have to do anything in order to get the win. Things like the Thunder Barge Doomstack, you know, 12 out of 10 on that one, sort of thing. And hero-based Doomstacks, they're just always going to be the strongest, and that's what the 10 out of 10s are reserved for. But at 9 out of 10, that's solid. That's a solid army right here. And there's very few enemies that you can go up against that you're gonna struggle with. Really, even if you were to go up against Bretonnia and they would have an army of Grail Knights, which that is unlikely. They usually put in a fair few peasants in their armies. They try to mix things up a bit. This should be able to handle it fairly well because you've also got access to really good magic if you use a Chaos Sorcerer of Nurgle with that as well. Anyway, that's the end of this one here, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the Rot Knight Doomstack, whether you agree with my assessment of it or disagree. Let me know. Appreciate you. Thanks for sending this in, and we'll see you next time. Later, guys.